Go ahead and call the meeting to order. 5:35. If you'll do roll call for us, Cassie.
Yeah. Mike Bullitt.
I'm here.
Julie Ellis.
I'm here.
Shelby Poole.
Here.
Brian Sheep.
Here.
Jolene Squirrel.
Here.
Nicole Stevens.
Here.
Joe Valentine.
Here.
Patrick Bowman. Who's absent?
Patrick Chopper.
All right. So Julie, if you will read the mission and vision for us.
Maybe on the glasses. The mission of WLA is to utilize leadership-based programs and strategies grounded in solid research combined with the demonstrated success of core knowledge curriculum as a basis of a rigorous overall educational program that builds strong skills in math, reading, literature, writing, music, science, and technology. The vision of WLA is to be a school where students and graduates become exceptional leaders and are prepared to take on the academic and leadership challenges they will face in high school and beyond.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda this evening.
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Make a motion to approve the February 22nd, 2024 meeting minutes.
Second.
Seconded by Brian.
Feel the tape. All right, that's fine.
All those in favor say aye.
Early release.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Is there any conflict of interest to declare this evening? Check public comments.
So I can give you this. And these are the dates.
Public comments.
Let me double check them with my calendar.
I guess I'll ask you this question. I had a parent email a question who's not able to be here tonight. Would I read that question now during public comment or? Okay, let me grab it. So Sarah Wers had sent a question just about busing. Her question says, I see that the budget for next year will be discussed either this month or next. Since the transportation contract with Monarch is such a large part of the budget, I have some questions. Why doesn't the school utilize 622 transportation for the students who reside in their boundary? 622 is required by state statute to transport those students, correct? Question mark. I would imagine that coordinating transportation with more than one company could be a bit of a headache and might be part of the reason, but would there be a bigger cost benefit if WLA pursued this? I know you might not know the questions, but thought maybe you could ask during discussion this evening.
Yeah, great. And I can, just like public comment, I can get back to her on
Okay.
some of that.
So,
That will be on the agenda for April, so we will be discussing it as a group. We'll have some additional bids and options, so.
That is a good question.
It is a good question, absolutely.
so thank you. And then there are no other public comments. So we will jump to the board report. This month being April almost, is when Jonas is coming to spend a few days, is that correct?
May 15th.
May, okay. I haven't heard from him lately, but I'll check in with him this next month here to see if there's anything he needs. Otherwise, we discussed earlier your retirement party, but we will try to get a date on the books for that as well and get it communicated out to anyone who might want to attend for you and Nancy. And that's really all I have.
Okay, good.
Can we protest the retirement at the party?
Yes, we're actually gonna put her in a closet and lock the door.
I don't, did we ever accept the resignation? I
don't think so, yeah.
Come across my desk.
Okay, my summer schedule is filling up. I have my first job after June 30th.
Ooh.
Starts July 11th.
Are you working at Dairy Queen or?
No, grandkids.
Oh,
It's
grandkids.
grandkids. My daughter and daughter-in-law are booking time so that they can get away and I can babysit for several days at a time, so.
Love it.
Yeah, it's fun. Okay, so we're gonna dive into the director report. I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted, but I'm gonna try to keep myself focused. The first thing is the current calendar for 23-24 needs to be revised. It needs to reflect a snow day on March 25th, early release March 26th, and a late start on March 22nd. We'll come to that in the motions in the end. Cassidy, you did check, we do need all 3 changed on the calendar, correct?
I think they're early release, I don't know about the 2-hour delay.
So why don't we just do all 3 and?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Instructional leadership, a few points down. The 9th grade launch focus groups and parent meetings continue to occur. All the curriculum pieces have been determined. They're aligned with state standards. The focus right now is getting some extracurricular clubs and sports in place, even this school year. Co-ed volleyball will not. Ultimate Frisbee is already in place, and co-ed flag football will be in place yet this spring. And we're already getting leagues, so we'll have students serving on those leagues or competing on those leagues with area schools. So it's exciting. We've been trying to do this for a long time. As far as enrollment, we have 17 current 8th grade students that have signed up for 9th grade here, and we have 4 kiddos that are new to WLA signed up.
So 21 total?
21 total, which is good.
I like it.
I like it. Now, I would like some board discussion. We do have, we have additional 9th grade students. Do we want to open 2 sections, or do we want to hold it at 1? Do we want to talk about that in April when I can give you some better numbers? Part of me is liking 2 sections. Part of me is let's start slower. So, even though it's the director's report, are there any kind of reactions to that just off the top of your heads?
Do we think we could reach enough to get Phil's
We
2
do.
sections?
We do.
I think based on past experiences, I would like to keep it small and slow.
Yeah, I'm really going back and forth.
Do we have the staffing to make that work with sharing staffing between middle school and high school?
Right now, the staffing works if we add 2 specialist teachers, whether it's another PE or another art or another music or. We will not have to hire core teachers. If we do a second section, we will have to add core teachers, but of course, there's more revenue then to do that with.
And space is enough for adding that section.
Right, we have enough space, but then you have to look at next year, 10th grade.
Would the space for the second group utilize the space that's allocated for 10th, the incoming 10th?
Yes,
So then we would back ourselves into a corner in theory.
yes. I know this is a big discussion point to throw at you, but I would like everyone to kind of be thinking about it. I'll try to get out a brief and more information with specifics prior to the next meeting so that you have some more to noodle about prior to the new meeting.
What is
We
the
have
price
any-
point for high schoolers?
Say it again?
What's the price point for high schoolers? I know it's 1.5.
It's 1.25.
1.25.
Yeah, that means we get more money for them than we do for a second grader.
And how many would be in one section?
Well, currently, we'd have 21 in one section.
And is that our cap, what's like the cap that we would allow?
We could probably go up to 25.
Kind of gets a little big at over.
Plus, they're big.
23 in high
That's what
Ninth
I'm
graders are
wondering,
big.
I'm just saying,
Middle
I'm
school.
wondering,
As some of you know, you've got 8th graders, and they're like getting big.
And what would that take the whole census up to? How many kids in the school?
We could be going up to 825 with the numbers that I'm looking at now,
Okay.
which is a big increase.
And
but
didn't
all-
we think 800, 850 was about, I know we
900.
can hold more than that, but yeah, we had a spot where we felt like,
900. So if we
Okay.
did get up to about 800 for next year, then it's one more jump, and then I'm really recommending build the waiting list, calm down, work on quality, extracurriculars, and, some of the other things that you guys will want to work on with Jonas. But yeah, you could keep going. The capacity with these 2 buildings is 1,200, but those of us that work here couldn't imagine it. It feels like we've got a lot of kids here.
Yeah.
it's always moving in here.
It's like a beehive.
Notwithstanding trying to add another 9th grade, the other grade levels are all going up in numbers and class sizes
There,
too. So
yes.
that
I'm
was kind
adding
of the nexus
sections
of my
in.
question.
extremely
Yeah.
skeptical how scheduling would work out to utilize their space.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody gets their time where they need to be.
So let me
Coming
put
from
that kind of,
specialist
yeah.
space.
I checked with Ben again this morning, and I'm like, okay, and this looks doable with, and he's like, yeah, scheduling, it works quite well.
I would need to see that before I would.
I know, because I know you, and I'm the same way. Let me put together.
And does it work where Julie never has to move again?
And that is serious, because some teachers are like, they're so tired of moving.
That, and I just like that lake you bought me.
Yeah, it's a great spot. Okay, so I will work on that. Thank you for that little.
Do we have
photo.
anything planned if we get that full and need another space a year out? A year out is not very far.
I know that, and actually, some of us went and looked at another place yesterday, which was wonderful, by the way, and I think we should get another group over there to look. So I'm price pointing that today now and work with the realtor to say, how much would that cost for that additional $40,000 as a lease, not a purchase, in case we do want next year to start tiding ourselves over until we have the ADM to qualify for additional bonding. Kind of makes sense?
Yep.
But it's a great location and a great facility. I think suits our needs with maybe putting 100,000 into it in improvements, not a lot.
more than that. That's fine,
Okay,
Far away?
but it's very nice.
no. Okay, that'll be exciting for next month. So Joe, you'll want to be on time for that one. Just kidding, I'm sorry.
He was on time, he was just saving the day.
He was just out there. All right, let's see. Curriculum committee is something that both Joe and I'm going to ask him to join, that we've been talking a little bit about on the side, that I would really like to put in place for July 1st, when you have your new board members seated, or some of you reseated. But really looking at a curriculum committee that would be comprised of parents, some parents, I'm thinking 3 parents, 3 staff members, that would be a teacher from K-1-2, 3 to 5, 6 to 9, 1 teacher each, at least 2 board members, and then 1 administrator, which might be our curriculum coordinator, or it might be Jess Erickson, or a principal, or Jonas, I'm not sure. But really multi-stakeholder responsibility to make sure that we're all tracking and in agreement. The core knowledge is pretty straightforward, but we need to be in agreement on all of these. So some of these things are written into our literacy plan, our title plan, where you really want stakeholder and committees working together to review curriculum. In a traditional public school, it's a requirement to have this kind of collaborative committee. In charters, it's not required, but I just think it's a good idea to get people working together and making decisions.
It's kind of best practices.
Yeah, and even the stuff as far as, do we have these books in the library, or should we get rid of them? And Sarah Wurz has done a ton of work up there, and she's like, well, I think we should do this, and then she's like, should we do this? It's like, I don't know, maybe. It's like, who can make some of these decisions? What would you like to add to that, Joel?
I think you covered most of it, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of changes going on. There's new
Social studies?
requirements coming out from the state with some legislation that's been passed too. So I think like you said, get a mix of teachers and parents and yeah, get on the same page.
Looks like a lot of heads are shaking yes. Jolene?
I like the idea. Oh, I'm not Jolene, sorry.
I like the idea
Me too.
Yeah.
I
Sounds
do
pretty
think this is, as you march towards this high school thing, I think there's gonna be more chances of maybe people not fully understanding the curriculum, and this is one of the things, just looking at the news nationwide, right, not in our school, that it sometimes attracts a lot more heat than light.
Right.
When we start talking about things like what's in the history curriculum, for example,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a topic that's near and dear to me. So I think it's a really good idea.
Yeah. Julie or yours?
very
Do you have a committee at your school?
No.
Of this? Okay. Well, again, we can motion to start a committee, or you can wait till you appoint new. It would be nice to get the committee organized before the end of the school year, so we know who those teachers are, so if they want to meet over the summer, we can kind of,
Yeah.
okay, let me keep rolling.
Should we make the motion
You want
now,
a
or do we need to amend the agenda?
I think it's on the agenda for later, sorry.
That's on the agenda.
Okay.
Yep, thanks, Cassidy.
Good job, Cassidy.
Yep, Bergen is going to present a very slightly, if at all, budget for us for the current school year in April, but we've really, knock on wood, I think I say this every meeting, we've really kept a steady, so we haven't had to move it much, but we will have the new budget with 2 additional elective teachers and some other changes, or specialist teachers, for April. We did meet with the bus company, that's Nicole and I. We met on March 11th. We'll be adding a bus. Well, I'm also trying to get additional busing contracts, so we have some comparisons. And that will be coming in April.
I have a
Especially,
question on that.
yeah.
Why is it always bus 9 that's not running? We're always inconveniencing the same parents. Can't they flip-flop their drivers?
Well, we gave bus 8 a turn yesterday or the day before. Let me put that down because I am wondering about that myself.
Yeah, it's just,
They were there yesterday.
if it was once in a while,
It has
fine,
to do
but
with
it's
the
not
routes that they
so
have.
much.
So their route before us is taking longer, is inconvenience. It's nothing
Oh,
we can do about it. It's just the routes that they're doing before us. We're the last bus route that they do. So whatever late they're late from their other ones, that's what we end up with.
well, that makes sense. And Jolene is in charge of busing out there, for those of you that don't know, so she's the head guru on that end of the
But
parking
couldn't
lot.
they flip-flop drivers?
It's not the driver.
It's not the drivers, it's the
bus.
route.
It's the physical bus and the route.
Question about specialists. Would we ever do a media specialist, like a library or computer type role?
We sure can, that has come up.
Tried it for a brief period.
We
Yeah.
did.
But
That was
as we're getting more
pre-COVID.
technology in the school too,
Actually, I did it for
it
a
might
little bit.
be easier.
Some days,
What
certain days.
what was the experience with it?
I wasn't there enough to know.
It was just pre-COVID, and I mean, I think it was like the 6 months before we went into,
Okay.
I think it was the fall of 2019.
Yeah, so enough oddities to not be able to
Yeah.
determine if it was good or
Right.
bad.
Somebody left and I had to step in
No,
for.
because it was
like
gone, it
Tuesdays and
was gone
Thursdays
before I was here,
for
but I do know that now that the
Halloween, so I
library
can't
is
speak
pretty,
to it much.
I mean, it's lovely. I love taking my kids to the library.
great one,
It's
isn't
like
it?
my favorite, yeah.
The program that we had it was fine. It was, I mean, he was new to it as well.
Right, right.
So I think that it has a lot of potential.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool, especially with our technology increasing, having like a so they actually learn how to type versus the poking.
They did typing, they did some coding.
That's, yeah, I
Yeah, they did some coding, I remember.
think it'd be cool.
Not so much
Put
in
that
the
on my list.
library end of it though, just that.
Sure.
later.
I'm okay with that too.
Yeah.
Okay,
Because
cool.
teachers can do library.
Human Resource Management, we're doing, are we starting to do a lot of interviewing and really have some candidates that we're interested in at this point, so we'll be putting out some offers by midweek next week. We have a couple more yet to do tomorrow. We've restructured the office positions, as you've seen in the HR section. Human Resources, really this is an emphasis on human resources and a efficiency with how we're going to do our accounts payable. So it's taking Nancy Bauman, who's retiring, and putting in Nicole, who's going to be much more HR, and we're going to be faxing AP like every other school, rather than doing the very thorough, very detailed, high-quality job that Nancy does. We're just going to do normal account payable, not the best in the world account payable. And we love Nancy. But our Bergen KDV says that she does such a head over shoulders job above any of the other schools, and I'm like, oh, that's all right. It's accounts payable. Let's just get it done. So we're making some changes there. And then I'm happy to say that we're also going to restructure our registrar, which is our enrollment and Mars person, who's also going to take on operations, and that is Miss Cassidy Schran. So I think she'll do a great job at that. And then currently with Nicole Link, she's this year really played a critical role. She's been the first time and the only time in the history of the school that we've had an executive administrative assistant. She's helped me a great deal as we're getting ready to turn everything over for Jonas. So her job will go away, and instead of her job, we're going to have a transportation coordinator, and this will also be food services, not Amy Food Services, but this is the food services that says, okay, we've got 3 pairs absent today, I need you to cover lunchroom C, I need this, so kind of that person that keeps things well organized every day, as well as working in the library. And Molly, I don't know Molly's last name, and she's a current paraprofessional that we have here, and she's going to step up into that role, so.
Cool, nice.
Yeah, there's no
Great.
added
She is.
expense, we're just taking 4 positions and putting them into those 3, so.
Very nice.
Yeah. Want to give a shout out to Steve Locke and Sue McMahon. I always say her last name wrong. Everyone knows Sue, and they've been working very hard to continue to put up art throughout our buildings. So thank you to the PTO for providing the artwork and to Sue and Steve for getting it up.
It was very nice to see it over in middle
Wasn't
school.
it? And what a difference it makes when you walk to the lunchroom in that back hall. It's like, it just, it looks better.
What's Nicole doing next year?
Nicole Link is going to do the Nancy. She's going to become
Got it.
the restructured Nancy. Cassidy's the restructured Cassidy.
Yeah. Was one of Jonas's things that he also would have liked that position, the executive administrative assistant, or was that not?
I think he mentioned that he would like someone to like review, do pieces of that. I don't know if it was mentioned how big of a role it would be. I don't know if I remember correctly.
That is correct,
Okay.
yeah. He didn't expand on the
No.
exact roles of that person, but.
Proofreading, emails, things like that, I think he had
I think our
mentioned.
fair assumptions would be fair.
Yeah.
What that looks like.
Yeah.
Molly has 2 years of administrative
That's right.
something, I forget, and
Yeah.
then she's really excited to step into
Yeah,
that, so I
Molly.
don't know if there's room in her.
That's a really good point. Yeah, Molly went to school for a 2-year degree for business management, kind of office work, and she's really excited about working in that office environment, so she might be able to. We'll look at that. I'll talk to
Okay.
Jonas as well.
Okay.
And that concludes the director's report.
All right, so next meeting. Financial report? Yeah, Bergen or Jolene?
He said he couldn't.
All right, Jolene, you're up.
So I shall read the summary of key financial indicators. The average daily membership, overview, original budget $754, working budget $735, and actual enrollment is $738. The school's budgeted surplus in general fund for the year is $238,570. The school is budgeting to spend $5,000 out of the community service fund. Projected cumulative fund balance of $2,417,822, or 29% of expenditures at fiscal year end. The school's working budget is projected a surplus of $179,306 at fiscal year end, which would result in an ending fund balance of $2,363,619, or 25% of total expenditures. The projected days of cash on hand is 97 days of annual expenditures. This is above 45 days, meets minimum bond covenants. Projected debt service coverage is at 1.27. This exceeds the required maximum annual debt service, MADS, requirement of 1.25. Financial statement key points. As of month end, 66.67% of the year was complete. Cash balance as of the reporting period is $1,390,855 and is down from $1,476,263 in the previous month due to regular accounts payable processing, including bus company payments. The state aids receivable 22-23 balance is $90,388. As of the reporting period, the balance will be finalized and received by MDE during its spring review, the review in spring 2024. Revenues received at the end of the reporting period, 66.3% of the working budget. Expenditures dispersed at the end of the reporting period, 63.8% of the working budget. Other items, the FY24 original budget was approved at the May 2023 board meeting. The FY24 working budget reflects updates to legislative updates and staffing changes. Administration and Creative Planning Services, CPBS, staff will be reviewing the working budget to bring the Board of Directors for approval in April.
Jolene, sorry to interrupt, but CPBS is the new name for Bergen KDB. So if you're wondering where that's from. It's creative planning?
Business Services.
Yeah, maybe.
Following the report are the colorful graphs to reflect all of the key indicators that I just reviewed, as well as financial statements to reflect the review as well. Are there any questions I may be able to answer in regards to the finance report? Good.
You just
All
begging
right.
for a zinger now.
Yeah, just bring it up.
I'll be quiet.
Okay. If it is okay, I'll proceed with the finance committee meeting minutes. All right, so we did not meet on Wednesday, March 13th. We met on the 19th. Instead, we had some illness going around and people were not able to attend, so we had to move that date. In this meeting, we had reviewed quite a few things. We all reviewed the financial statements, and we made sure they were on target within the limits. Several items we decided to table until we get some more information, including PTO balances and how to proceed with those, and to where the funds for the playground, soccer field, building A, and first floor model may come from. So we'll discuss those again at our next meeting. Reviewed some special education contracts, which are being forth to the board tonight to ratify. We decided not to renew our line of credit for the Old National Bank. It's fairly simple to start up again, so we just didn't feel the need to go through that.
And that saved us a fairly decent amount of money, right? It's like, okay.
$5,000. Yeah. And then we spoke to Kathy in regards to bringing in some more busing bids to compare and contrast with our current one. Dr. Mortensen spoke of the reorganization of all of those positions she spoke about, and those are being brought forth to ratify tonight. And the credit card, we are going to revamp that, is that what it was again?
Yeah, we're an unusual school in that we put a lot of our regular monthly bills and expenses on a credit card, and then we pay it off immediately. BKDV has, they have a way that their schools do that, which we want to change over to that. So that's what that's about.
Right. And then we talked about what needs to happen in regards to Dr. Mortensen and Nancy to complete the finance process for retirement and for having Jonas take over those. So, a very productive meeting. And we have our next meeting scheduled for Wednesday, April 10th, 4:30 virtual meeting. We finish our meeting at 5:13. Any questions? Okay.
Only because I want to wrap my head around it and understand it. Why do we put stuff on credit and pay it off? What's the advantage?
I don't think that there is an advantage, and it's just something that Nancy and I
Is it cleaner
have.
that way, or is it?
Pardon me?
Is it cleaner that way, like to
It's more
pay it?
convenient.
More convenient?
We do earn some money, some on the credit card, which is
Yeah.
nice.
Okay.
But the whole idea of, if we need pipe cleaners for something for next week, it goes on Amazon, it goes on our credit card or the Amazon card. And then I approve it afterwards when I get the bill. And it's just like, that's not really how it should go.
Right.
And we don't do accounts, well, like you used to do purchase orders, right, in the real world. So Bergen has a system for how all their other schools do it, and they said, well, you're one of the only schools that is actually doing it that way. And I'm like, well, let's get it cleaned up and consistent with how other schools do it.
Sure.
But Nancy has really liked it through all these years because it's very convenient. When you need pipe
Right.
cleaners, just do it, and Kathy's not gonna argue about it, but at the same time, it's like, there's gotta be a better way.
Yeah.
The credit card thing is this thick, this stack of pipe
Well, then you
cleaners.
gotta go through and itemize and apply that to the correct accounts, right?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
It's a
Which,
lot.
that can be painful, I would imagine.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. This is maybe a silly question, but can you blend it in some way? That your emergency purchases still can be done on the credit card, and then the rest of it goes through this system?
You could,
And then the credit card, then you have less of it, for this one-off stuff that you do have to have.
yeah. Well, just.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Still nice to have.
Yeah, like when we go
When
to
you're out of stuff.
Bemidji,
Yeah.
and you have to use the school credit card to secure and confirm your hotel rooms for the board training and so forth, or you're booking a trip, but Bergen, with myself, with Nancy, with Nicole, who'll be taking it over, we all have about an hour and a half meeting next Wednesday where they're gonna carefully walk us through that. Nancy will be part of that process so that she can pick up anything like, this is why I'm telling you to keep it, so, we'll do it very thoughtfully.
That sounds good.
Okay, well, if there's no further discussion, I'd like to make a motion to approve the February financials and the March Finance Committee meeting.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Cassidy, you had stepped out for a quick second on 3.2. I made the motion, Ryan made the second. I don't know if you caught that.
That's right. Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right, Governance Committee, we'll turn it over to Joe.
Yeah, we met on Thursday, March 14th. We had a few missing. It was just Dr. Kathy, Rich, myself, and Shelby, but we discussed more with the review of policy for the 600 series, specifically 603, which updated to reflect the K through 12, which got sent to Cassidy to update the website. And then policy 610 to update with the current version, to not include some of the edits. We just, when we were on the website, we found the version we had all the red text and edits, so we just needed to make it the final copy. Also, policy 612, the one which we decided we'll review in the April meeting. We also had the topic of the uniforms, but we were going to table that until we had Mike present for that one, so if you've got more information coming on that. So we also tabled the student dress code updates for policy 540 until April as well, just to confirm some of the updates on the website and within policy. So it was a pretty short meeting, and then the future discussions, more of the annual policy reviews for the rest of the 600 series, policy 540 to confirm the table on the website matches the new uniform policy, and we're going to meet again virtually on April 11th at 6 p.m.
Yeah, that was a really short meeting. It was
It was,
15
just 4
minutes.
of us.
And Kathy's mic didn't work, that's why it was short.
I was going to blame you.
Thumbs
No, I
up.
think it's fair.
I think it's fair too.
See, I can do both. I can go too fast, or I can take up too much time. I'm a double threat.
So, yeah, if anyone doesn't have anything else, I can make a motion to approve the March Governance Committee minutes.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve accept the March Governance Committee minutes. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. And Ryan.
All right, facilities meeting took place March 12th, 2024 at 4:37 p.m. I was there, of course, Mr. Owes and Ben Broderick. Discussed several items here. First was the civil engineer was to come out on 3/13 to present a contract to meet and discuss the plan to get the city for their approval and to speed up the process. And that civil engineer is for our future projects, which include the playground, soccer fields, pickleball courts, etc. The next steps are to set the timelines to sign the contract, go through legal, present it to the city, get approval, all of which does not happen as fast as we want, but all very necessary steps to take. So we are moving forward with that civil engineer company, which is fantastic. So it's a big step for us. Building A renovation bids were received from Wexford and Roshan, right? Am I pronouncing that correct?
Yep.
And now Kathy and that team is working through that.
I did follow up with both of those companies. We'll be going forward with Wexford, and Rashawn knows that, but that will be depending, Paula, on the finance committee was showing us all exactly what pots that's coming out of, because
Yeah.
the playground is the priority, I think, at this point. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, so Ben is working, or Mr. Broderick is working on finding companies for bids to fix our soccer field out there, or rec field, whatever you want to call it. He is going to be working, if he isn't already, with Reed from the city for suggested companies. Reed is utilized for other city fields in Woodbury, most of which are excellent to play on, so they know what they're doing with confidence in them. If you didn't notice, you are going to now, because I'm going to say it out loud. There are paint patches on the gym walls that were ripped off from the prior glued panels that need fixing. I know we've all been enamored by the mural and the sound panels being up there. You may have missed the naked patches of walls, but we need to get that cleaned up and get that sealed. So we are trying to get a bid from an employee here in their company to paint that and see what that looks like, of course, outside of their normal duties, and get that all shored up. So that's coming too. Ben will look into why the noise from the gym is still loud in Miss Hink's classroom. I don't know if anybody here can speak to that or not, but it seems like a similar issue that we had prior, where there just happened to be some sort of void or something that was simply filled with possibly some sort of expansion foam or something. Should be an easy fix if that's the
We're hoping it's
case.
that after adding all these panels.
Yeah, right. So now that sound is being controlled, and it's just looking for a leaking point at this point. And I think we've maybe found one and identified it, so it should be an easy fix. I don't see why it wouldn't be. HVAC bid from St. Cloud for routine maintenance for Building B. We need that. They currently have a contract with us for Building A, if you're not familiar with them. Ben is working out the deets on that, so we need to get them on board, because obviously we need to make sure that Building B's HVAC is maintained and maintained. If you didn't already know, we had sprung a leak in the roof in Building A. So Ben had a roof company come out. We had originally had a roof company come out. They threw their hands in the air and shrugged and said, we have no idea what's going on. Second roof company came out, found it immediately, found it, fixed it, sealed it, water tested it, no leaks, good to go.
Like how
So
we
thankful
fixed
for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that sums up the facilities meeting. We ended at 4:55 PM.
We have Paula here.
Paula Krippner.
I'm the special education director here. I have the privilege of, do you want to take one and pass it out? Privilege of working at WLA with all the wonderful staff and students.
This is the 5th year now, right?
It is, 5 years, yeah. So what I've put together for you is just kind of an overview of where we are with special education. And if you have any questions, just, ask your question as I'm talking, please. Looking at, with special education, there are 13 areas of disabilities, and we've got 10 of those 13 areas represented here at WLA. And, there's deaf, hard of hearing, there is blind, and then there's a severe profound category where students have some pretty significant needs. And so those are all considered what we call in special ed low incidence. And so that's what it is. So you're probably not going to see those areas in many of the charter schools, including WLA. But it just gives you a student count of where we're at right now with 120 students. I did break it down further into grade level, but I want to look at those grade level numbers with caution, because I pulled up 3 different reports and got 3 different sets of numbers. And so it totals the 120, but there might be a little discrepancy of 1 or 2 in each of the different grade levels. And it was interesting looking at the grade levels, because I really anticipated fewer students, K1, 2, and more students, 6, 7, 8, but it's showing just the opposite, which to me makes sense, because I'm going, why is this? Well, because we have grown over the last 5 years that I've been here. We've grown significantly, almost 100 students a year.
Right.
And so it makes sense to me that we had fewer students in the older grade level, and now that we've got more students here, we've got more students on IEPs. It goes hand in hand. So that's why we're seeing that number like that.
But then that speaks to the numbers that we could have in 5 years from now.
Exactly. Oh, definitely, because it keeps increasing every year.
And they go down a little bit because kids leave in 6. That's a natural thing in a school like this.
Yeah, we've got the
So-
students coming and leaving. We also have that happens on a regular basis, but yeah.
Ballpark, how many kindergartners do we have? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
100.
Okay. And about 40 eighth graders, right? Okay.
Yep.
No, you're fine, ask away.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna, because percentage-wise, that gets close to boxing. You know,
Yeah.
15% of the kindergartners, 17.5% of the eighth graders.
And the average for us is about 11%, I think, and the average
11
for
to 13, it's
Okay.
kind of fluctuated in the last few years with
Okay.
the more students coming in.
State average is for sped in,
The state average is around 11.
okay. So we're
Okay.
actually going a little higher than
Mhm.
average, okay.
Mhm.
I thought that the state average
120 out
was
of it. You
16.
said 835 is how many kids are here now, right? Was that the last?
No,
working budget?
750-ish are here now, 825 projected for next year.
Okay.
Well, there's already 11 referrals for next year.
Yeah, that's 16%
Yep.
is the 120, so that's,
And that
And 9 are in
oftentimes,
the process.
and that oftentimes happens with charter schools because we've got families who are,
yeah, they feel like they're gonna get some attention here.
exactly, they feel like we've got smaller class sizes, that we've got much more attention to the students, and so they think that the things that happen in public school aren't going to happen here in the charter schools. And many times they're not pleased with what's going on in the public school system. So those are typically families that come to charter schools. So this year I'm only working with WLA, but my previous years I worked with a number of different charter schools, and we're finding that across the board with the charter schools. We're not,
And
our numbers aren't uncommon.
And for kids with IEPs, this is a question born of ignorance, do some of them kind of work their way out of it and then they don't have one, or do they, I would assume a fair number of them actually do.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So we do, that's the goal of an IEP, is that you no longer need an IEP because we're there to teach them strategies and interventions that as they get older, they can use themselves to help themselves do the work. Because they're capable of doing the work, they just learn differently, so they need some different strategies, some different interventions, and then our goal is to help them figure that out. And then also, along with these, we've got 36 students who are on speech IEPs only, and speech is articulation, or that language piece of not understanding the basics of language that interfere with their ability. So that's another piece you have to take.
Well, no, I was one of those kids, so I.
There you go.
Is it normal for kindergarten to be a higher amount when they've just like started off in school, or is that?
A lot of those are going to be speech,
Gotcha.
articulation. Yep,
Right.
that's why.
And so a good chunk of
you're
those
seeing
kids
the
will,
question.
Yeah, the
they'll,
kindergarten, first, second,
yeah, so a good chunk of those kids will get it set right and then
yes.
they'll be off of the
Exact,
IEP.
absolutely, absolutely.
Do you track that metric? Like how many kids were on an IEP and are not? Because that looks like a definition of success.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
In middle
Yeah.
school, I can't recall anyone that we've taken off. They've graduated out of here with their IEPs.
Any of those speech kids?
Speech, I've only
Not
had
any,
2.
yeah, I was gonna say, not any speech only.
Yeah.
We're done with speech by elementary grades, which is very typical. And we don't usually even carry many students that have speech as a second disability, along with a more academic disability in the middle school and high school.
Paul, if I can butt in, this is a good time to give
Yeah, no.
kudos, not only to you and all of our contractor staff, but I hear a lot of good things about our SPED team, our SPED people. Parents seem to like the services and our ability to provide those services. There's been a couple that have been a pain in the neck, but mostly parents are very appreciative of the hard work that we do with our SPED kiddos here.
Absolutely.
And I think that word gets out, like, we're having good luck, our child has speech or whatever considerations, and this is a good school, so.
I would absolutely agree with what you're saying.
I have one more question. Our
Yeah.
sped teacher is amazing, Ryan. But Mr. Z,
Yep.
I'm just wondering, with the numbers growing, how many students should be on a caseload for a special education manager? Is that something, to me, it seems like we're gonna need to add special education teachers. I know they're hard to come by. We have very wonderful special education teachers. But I'm just curious, as we're preparing for next year, what's the normal amount? What are we sitting at, kind of?
Yeah, and that's a really good question. We do that staffing pretty much the way we do other staffing for classrooms.
Sure.
There are no designated amounts by MDE, Minnesota Department of Education, so there is no designated amount for a caseload, except if you're doing early childhood, which is pre-K, and we don't have early childhood here. But what we do then is we'll take a look. Just as I heard you say earlier, we've got 9 students
Yeah.
currently in the process of being evaluated. I'm not going to say all 9 are guaranteed to qualify,
Sure.
but a good share of them will. And then we're already looking at 11 for
Right.
next year. So then what we'll do is we'll add that to our current numbers, and we'll look at it. And we like to start out caseloads in the fall. If we can sit around 13, 14, that's nice, because they do definitely grow up to 20 at times for certain grade levels. So we do tend to start lower.
And was that
In the
normal, like
fall.
compared to like Sowashco and
Oh,
places
yeah,
like that?
absolutely, absolutely. We're pretty similar with caseload size with the other districts and the other charter schools.
20 starts to get big.
20 does start to be,
Yeah,
I
that's-
agree, it gets to be a lot.
Again,
Good for-
Ryan does an amazing
Right.
job. I just know that he's always very busy.
Absolutely.
Manages it phenomenally, but very busy.
Yeah, we'll make sure Ryan knows that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're fortunate with all of the teachers. Everybody has those good relationships with the students, which is one of the most critical things that you need to have, and then also has that relationship with the parents too. Any other?
Thank you, appreciate you
Questions?
doing this, and then
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
how you wrote it out instead of just using all of the acronyms we're all used to. SLD and da-da-da-da, and it's like, oh.
Exactly, yeah, those are.
Oh, is that what SLD is?
Yeah.
You know, I hadn't noticed that till you said it, but yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you for
because
doing
I'm more and more convinced that they don't promote any clarity at all. At least where I work.
Oh, special ed ease, there is a special ed ease language, there's no question
Yep.
about it, so, yeah, definitely. And Kathy, when she was talking to me, she's like, make sure you spell everything out here.
So I was gonna give you credit
Because
for
it's
that.
hard. I mean, it's
Wow,
hard to know.
It's,
Yeah, so,
Thank you.
does anyone have any questions about any of the disability areas specifically?
How are we categorized as far as what levels of disabilities we can accommodate?
I would say that we could accommodate probably anything except for the severe profound. You know, there's a thing called settings in special education, which is the minutes of service, special ed services provided. And so once we get to a setting 4 or a very high setting 3, which is, setting 3 is 60% more of your time in special education. Setting 4 is an outside separate setting. That's where it gets tough to provide those supports, because you're going to need to have speech on board 5 days a week. You're going to need to have OT on board 5 days a week. You're going to have a teacher who basically has a special ed teacher with a separate classroom. And that gets real difficult to do in many of the charter schools as well as ours. And at that point, the child needs so much support and services that they're hardly in the general education classroom at all. So that gets to be more challenging than for a charter school.
So if students are applying to our schools with those types of needs, are they still, Kathy, this might be a youth, I don't understand that process. Are they, and I don't want to say let in, but how, does that occur, or are we like?
Can we say we're not capable of serving
Yeah,
the
thank you.
needs that you have?
Here's what we do.
There you go.
We can't say we can't serve, so that's the one thing we're not able to do, my double negative sentence there. But what we do is we talk about what we can do, based on what's currently in the IEP. And Emma, I'm sure you all know Emma, the coordinator, she and I will meet with those parents when we get those, when Cassie sends us those IEPs. We will sit down and meet with the parents and then go through, here's what we have available, here's what we are able to do, here's what the supports are going to look like here. It looks like your son, daughter needs these, and then we'll talk about the differences and the importance of the differences and the supports in place.
So if students are in our school and it's determined through IEP meetings and so forth that their needs are higher than were stated on their IEPs, how does that work then?
Then we will have that conversation with those families. We're very, I mean, everyone's very
Sure,
open
yeah, absolutely.
and honest and transparent about it. We absolutely have those conversations. We have had those conversations and have had students move to other placements that are more appropriate.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, good question. All right, well, I know you're busy, you have a huge agenda, so thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
Nice to
thank you.
meet
Thank you, Paula.
Thank you.
Appreciate the training.
You bet.
That leads us into the special ed education contracts, which the finance committee has already reviewed and suggested to us. So I would make a motion to approve. Do I need to list them all?
These two have already been approved at a previous meeting, so yeah, you would have to say those.
Do we need to approve each one individually, or can I do it?
You can group
Okay.
them.
So I would make a motion to approve the special education contracts as follows. Sheila Merzer as our ASD consultant, Integrative Therapy as our occupational therapist, Keys to Communication for speech language pathologist, Reno Moths for development adaptive physical education teacher, Strategic Staffing Services for ASD licensed consultant, EBD licensed consultant, Early Childhood Special Education licensed consultant, DCD licensed consultant, our DHH Consulting LLC, Jenny Smith, which is our teacher for the deaf and hard of hearing, John Coverstone for our audiologist.
Second.
All right, there has been a motion and a second to approve the listed special education contracts. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. We will table 7.3 for next month possibly. I'd like to make a motion to approve the WLA logo with the vendors. All right, any further discussion around that? PTA did approve that, correct, Sharon?
It's our logo.
PTO and Jess Erickson said yes.
Okay. All right. There's no further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. All right, we need to make a motion to revise the school calendar. March 22nd, 2-hour delay. March 26th, declared snow day. March 27th, early release at 12:30?
15.
Second.
All right, there's been a motion and a second to revise the school calendar to reflect the snow days, early outs, and late starts. Any further discussion around that? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed?
Hard to vote against something that already happened.
That'd be interesting.
Any abstentions? Motion carries. Make a motion to establish a WLA curriculum committee effective 8/1/24.
Second.
Can I
Yep.
talk about that? Can we revise that motion to start and have Joe Valentine be the chair of that committee? Pending its reelection. I guess maybe we better wait on that piece. Yeah,
Are we
sorry.
looking for just one board member on that, or more than one?
I would recommend a couple, 3 teachers, 3 parents,
Okay.
2 board members, and 1 admin.
Yeah.
That'd be 9.
Barring me stepping on anybody's toes, I'd like to be on that one.
Okay. You can figure out your chairs later when we have our reelections, but it sounds like let's move vote on the committee. I'm sorry to slow it down.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm all in favor of Joe chairing it, I just want to be on it.
Okay, gotcha.
All right, so I will make the motion to establish WLA Curriculum Committee effective 8/1/24.
Second.
Gotta be sure. All right, there's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
I should have jumped in. Kathy, you talked about having them meet during the summer, but it doesn't exist till 8/1. I know that's still summer,
It is
but
still summer, but what I'm hoping is that with Jonas, he's gonna wanna meet with this group in mid-October for a couple hours or whatever, let's get that ball rolling.
Mid-August.
In August, yeah, July is just so quiet.
Okay. I just want to clarify
I
that.
think she had said something about like getting teachers on board, so getting an interest in who would like to be on it starting August 1st, I think is
Yes.
what you were
Yeah, thank you.
hinting at. All right, I'll make a motion to ratify the 3 positions that Kathy discussed earlier for HR, accounts payable, and communications positions beginning April 1st.
And let me
Second.
clarify, just,
Yep.
sorry, Julie, the only one that's gonna start right now is,
Communications.
yeah, Human Resources and Communications will start April 1st, the other 2 will start July 1st, because they're already being done by other people.
Got it.
Okay, sorry.
All right, I'll remake the motion to ratify the HR and accounts payable positions starting July 1st and communications positions starting July 1st or June 1st? What did you say? July 1st? And the communications position beginning April 1st.
Second.
All right, there's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. All right, election time. Election committee members, I know. Was that with the Angela? She's like,
She's always just saying.
never heard of
Girls
it.
know how to run the program, you're so good at it.
All right, so we need to figure out who is going to run our elections.
Cassidy, maybe you could explain a little bit.
Our people who are up for renewal, we can't,
No.
we can't be on that committee, correct?
No.
So that knocks out like half of us, because you and me and you. I'm just saying, we have a lot of contact, but 3 of us are out on
Lay out the
this.
responsibilities, what do we
The
got?
election committee has like nowhere, it's mine, it's basically a lot of it I'll be doing. And so usually, I talked to Mandy this morning and she suggested 3 people. So me and then potentially 2 board members or 1 board member, Dr. Mortensen. And basically it's helping me with elections, the elections email that we have. So when anyone nominates themselves, communicating that to me or just letting me know, and then I put it on Election Runner. I put all the data into Election Runner because I already have access to all the information of like parent emails. And then I start the election, I submit the final results, usually like 1 or 2 of us kind of sit and look, so then we're all able to kind of see the results. So a lot of it is just me doing it, but just extra support. So in past years, it's been like the secretary, not to nominate you, but the secretary, me, and then one other person.
That's fine. I can do it.
And I would say I would be the 3rd then, because we're all here on site.
Yeah, that's
and I
easy
can
to
just-
coordinate.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Secretary and myself and you.
Okay.
Jolene can join us if she'd like, right? Or Julie.
I'll see for
right?
it.
I can.
The
She's up
Julie's
for
on.
re-election.
I'm
That's
out.
right, okay.
Do you need any other board members?
No, I think Mandy said it's pretty casual.
No.
Unless you
That's
want
not
to.
what I just asked a question.
No, I think it was fine. Last year it was just, I think Jolene, you were on it last year, but we didn't even.
We didn't really do it.
We didn't use you. so.
Okay, quit minimizing.
All right.
And then I have, for the next board meeting, I have kind of our dates and everything laid out and.
Okay. So we're filling, a few people are going to be off then. Shelby, Julie, Joe, and then all of you are welcome to run again
Yeah.
or think about it. Think about it. Okay. And then we have 2 community seats available. Can you explain what the process is for those?
Yeah, so it's the same process, but what Mandy explained to me, one like kind of complication of it, so like, let's say we have 2 community members that would like to be on the board. We have 2 available spots open, but you can technically only elect 1 a year. So whoever won would be elected, but the board can appoint to the second one, so just kind of.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because we have a vacancy right now.
What if no one applies for it?
Then it's just left.
Just
Okay.
share with the one vacancy.
Because we have 1, yeah.
You have to have 1 from each category.
Yeah.
You have to have at least 5 on the board.
Okay.
Okay, makes sense. Do you need a motion on that committee?
I don't think so, no.
I only have a pink pen, I have a black pen. Sign up in the room. Are these the ones that I just ratified?
This is the one for Nicole, for the new Nancy, the new revised. Thank you.
All right.
It's a lot.
That was, we both through it though. Future agenda items, board communication, do we have anything else coming up other than elections, big one?
The big one is the budget,
Next month.
and then the elections next month. And otherwise, I think it's normal. Hopefully, we'll have some more stuff on facilities from finance about, yep, we're gonna move forward with this or these 2 initiatives, or
Yep.
3.
A lot of stuff on deck, just ready to fall. So
Correct.
Yeah, kind of that time of year. All right. Now our next meeting will be held here on Thursday, April 25th at 5:30 PM. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.